our long-term adventures with our hookup fleet continues. I've got myself the Skoda Yeti, while Kailash Menon in Delhi's got himself the A-Star Automatic. Week 2 with the Skoda Yeti, and I have to say I'm really enjoying myself with this car. Now, I've done a combination of my grueling daily commute to work and a couple of highway drives, and as yet, nothing I can really complain about. You won't really feel it in the city, but out on the highway, the Yeti really comes into its own. With the free revving engine and the all-wheel drive, this car is very fun to drive. I have noticed a couple of minor niggles though. What you've got under the hood is a 2-litre CRDI engine coupled to a 6-speed transmission. Now when you're driving in the city, the gearbox is not very tolerant. The short gears will punish you with a stall if you're in the wrong gear. The first couple of days, it happened to me. It was pretty embarrassing, but then you kind of figure it out. Another thing that I've noticed and find a little irritating with this car is the lack of USB and Bluetooth ports. It's got a very nice touchscreen media player, but unfortunately because of the lack of USB or Bluetooth ports, I've taken to plugging my phone in using an aux cable. Now in the 1 week that I've driven this car, we've covered about 396 kilometers. With my combination highway and city driving cycle, I'm getting an indicated 13 kilometers to a litre.
So this is my week 2 with the automatic A-Star, and I've clocked a little more than 100 kilometers. But I've come to the conclusion that the A-Star automatic is an out-and-out city car. I mean, you know, what I like the most about this car is the sheer size of it. I mean, it's puny. It's only 3.5 meters long. That means wiggling through bumper-to-bumper traffic or squeezing into tight parking spaces is not a problem at all. Now the puny proportions do pose a problem too. Now last week only I had to drop my parents off to the airport, and they had substantial amount of luggage with them, and as you can see, the A-Star is sort of short on boot space, so I had to try various permutations and combinations like luggage up front, folks at the back. Then my dad started to crib about how cramped the rear seat spacing is, so eventually they took a cab and went. But what I'm trying to say is, if you're a frequent flyer who's going to use this car to ferry a lot of your baggage to the airport, or you have family members who are a bit bigger than normal, you'll find the A-Star a bit too trim. Now the car has got a 4-speed auto box, which is great for your bumper-to-bumper crawl, but just in case you want to have a smoky start at a traffic stop, you do have the option of going manual. You have to flick the shifter to the right, and you've got 3 modes basically. You've got the L mode, which is basically for smoky starts or hard inclines. You've got the second and the third too. But let me tell you, the difference is marginal, and if you flick it to the manual, the car is just a tad bit faster. Now I've clocked close to 100 kilometers on it, and the mileage she's returning me is somewhere around 14.5 kilometers to a litre. Now, the company claims that the automatic will do a 17, but that's again under standard test conditions where the car is strapped onto a giant treadmill. They slot it on the 4th and just let it run. This is more of real world scenario. I mean, I clocked somewhere around 50 to 70 in the city. The AC is on the moment I step into the car, and yet she is returning me a mileage of 14.5, which is not that a bad deal at all.